Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Friday, February 22nd, 2019. 4:38 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. So we're going to look at methane today. We have a new day's worth of data on cams. We have data from Thursday, yesterday actually, the 21st. I have it loaded up here. We've got 4 days worth of data, which is the most we've seen in a while, but we've already seen these other days. We looked at Tuesday and Wednesday yesterday. So I've got the Arctic view loaded up and surface level, and this is where it ended up on Wednesday, with the release coming out of this Laptev Sea and moving across, and then a new release coming out of this Chukchi Sea, and the dark red coming out of the Kara Sea near Novaya Zemlya in this building in Siberia. So let's let this go and see what's happening here. And now it's into the forecast period. We're seeing the release spread across the Arctic again, and then look at this large release coming out of Russia, and it's just moving like a wave out of the ocean now, and that's into the forecast period. So we've seen these come and go as waves, with the building and release and building and release. And it doesn't really look like it's slowing down that much to me. And it's this same area it keeps like building and releasing out of Siberia. So here it is at the end of Thursday or beginning of Friday, where it was continuing to release across, all the way across the Arctic there, and this dark release to the east of Novaya Zemlya, and this still building over Siberia. So now I've got it loaded up on the North Pole view so that we can see the whole northern hemisphere, so you get a little bit better picture of overall what's going on. And it's a very, very large release here coming out of Siberia and moving across, and that's a place that it just keeps doing it from. What can I say? And then you can look at the different areas and see what's going on too. I'm going to try and make this report kind of short tonight, and because I've had some long shows, and it's hard to keep up the pace on those long shows for me. So and I'm going to pass on comments. We'll get caught up on comments another day. I just want to keep it pretty much short, and let's get in and do this. And I want to follow up on this cyclone that's coming in towards Australia and New Zealand, Cyclone Oma. Remember, we showed this a couple of days ago, and it's kind of been hanging around. Here it was from the 19th, where it was really forming, And then here it was from the 20th, where it was making its tail that was starting to spread out, and then the tail went away on, oh, I went the wrong way. Then here it is where it's, this is yesterday, the 21st, and here it is on the 22nd. So it looks like they don't know exactly what it's going to do, but the tail of it is coming down and hitting this northern island of New Zealand and going to bring rain to them. And I have an article about it. I'm not sure when it's gonna hit land over here on Australia. It looks like here it is on the 22nd, and it's still kind of holding out in the ocean here, so it may just stay out here and kind of do a backtrack. We're just not sure yet. So this is out of New Zealand Herald. Weather cyclone Oma, heavy rain set to hit Auckland, North Island on Friday and weekend. And then here's a video of the guy doing his forecast. And it says, a significant weather change is heading for the country as several cold fronts move up the country, bringing gale force winds, sharp temperature drops, and heavy rainfall. Well, that's quite a difference, quite a contrast to what they've been experiencing. So maybe this will put out those fires that they've been having too. Met Service is predicting Cyclone Oma will slide past the country, but we're not out of the firing line. Heavy rain, winds, and storm surges from the cyclone have uprooted trees, destroyed homes and food crops in Torba and Sanma provinces in Vanuatu. Look at that. It's from the Vanuatu Daily Post reported the main damage on all islands was coastal destruction. Widespread damage was reported in New Caledonia after power was knocked out for thousands of homes while trees were felled and roads flooded. The damaging weather system that pummeled parts of the Pacific and the warm air sucked into it is going to bring heavy rain to New Zealand today. This is from today, the 22nd. And so there you can see the tail of it coming down. Met Service lead forecaster Mark Todd said this morning that Upper New Zealand was at greatest risk of heavy rainfalls from northern Auckland up to Northland. What we have is some very, very moist, warm air sinking southward from the tropics later on today and into tomorrow. A heavy rain warning was in place for Northland with up to 100 millimeters of rain expected by midnight. That could spell trouble with the National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research warning that the rain combined with dry concrete-like ground that there could be flooding due to excessive runoff. Well, you know, it's one or the other. It's like they're so drought-stricken because they haven't had any rain in months, and now they're going to get dumped on. So we're going to keep New Zealand in our prayers and keep watching that, and I'll keep reporting on that as well. The next thing, we're going to head right over to earthquakes now. And the first one we're going to start with is this huge 7.5 that hit in Ecuador this morning. And it was right here. It was a 7.5. It originally registered as a 7.7. and then it was downgraded to a 7.5 near Palora, Ecuador. This came in at 2:17 this morning Pacific time, and it was 132 kilometers deep. Now, because it was so deep, there was no tsunami warning issued from this, and then there was this aftershock. There were other aftershocks, but on the USGS is this 5.5 near Duran, Ecuador, that came in at 2:40. That was 82 kilometers deep. So here's an article I pulled up from CBS News. From Lima, Peru, a very powerful magnitude 7.5 earthquake struck southern Ecuador in the early hours of Friday, close to the country's border with Peru. Although no immediate reports of possible casualties or damage were available. The USGS said the quake happened at 10:17 GMT, 115 kilometers or 71 miles southeast of the town of Palora in the Morona, Santiago province at a depth of 132 kilometers or 82 miles. The quake was felt in the Ecuadorian capital, Quito, and the coastal city of Guayaquil. Peru's official Geophysics Institute said it registered two aftershocks of 6.06 and 6.6 magnitude in the 30 minutes that followed the first tremor. Ecuador's President Lenin Moreno said on his official Twitter account that preliminary reports of the quakes near Macas, the provincial capital of Morona, Santiago, don't show major damage. The quakes, he wrote, were felt all over the country, and people posted video and images to social media after the quake. And this is an image of this light shaking. And here's a picture of a wall that some bricks had come out of this wall. This was one of the first photos of structural damage, and then they put as a reminder that a 7.8 magnitude earthquake that shook a central area of the Ecuadorian coast on April 16, 2016, killed more than 700 people, destroyed hundreds of houses, and caused more than $3 billion of losses. So we'll keep all those people in our prayers too. So this is right on the heels of us talking about these earthquakes getting larger in magnitude, and they are. They're getting larger, and we're seeing them in places that we haven't seen them before as well. So I just want to remind people, you know, you need to get prepared spiritually for whatever happens, and it's just time, and there's no time left. And when you're in the middle of a disaster like this, you're not going to be thinking about saving your soul. So now's the time to get your soul saved before you're right at the middle, in the middle of a disaster that could take your life. So that's just my thoughts, and that's my message all the time. So we're going to start, we will continue with South America. So we saw that up there in Ecuador. Then down here was a 4.6 near Campo Verde, Peru, that came in today at 4:31 this morning, 123 kilometers deep. So couple of hours after this big one came in. This one came in, and down here off the coast of Chile was a 4.4 near Iquique, Chile, at 10:13 this morning, 18 kilometers deep. Then here's a 4.1 near San Pedro de Atacama, Chile, that came in yesterday afternoon at 5:44 p.m., 177 kilometers deep. And then two, we're seeing them in pairs a lot. Let's do this first one first. A 4.5 near Illapel, Chile at 9:12 p.m. last night, 90 kilometers deep. And a 4.6 near Monte Patria, Chile at 1:25 this morning, 89 kilometers deep. Then while over here, we're seeing one in the middle of the Atlantic at 5.5 on the southern mid-Atlantic ridge. This one came in at 1:15 this afternoon. So on the 2.5 magnitude and higher, we're seeing 35 earthquakes worldwide on USGS. On all magnitudes, we're seeing 197. This is in the last 24 hours. So with this large quake and with it being deep, it will be causing these tectonic plates to shift, and so we'll be seeing more movement happening and more quakes happening across the Pacific, and larger ones too as this force moves across. And we'll probably be seeing them spread out to the south and to the north, and maybe even up along this ridgeline here, this tectonic plate, this Pacific plate. So just got to be prepared for anything these days. Now let's go over here to Indonesia. Here was a 4.5 near Dili, East Timor, at 4:54 this morning. Another deep quake, 185 kilometers deep. It was in the ocean there. Now up here in Russia, or near Russia, there was a 4.7 near Severokurilsk, Russia at 12:01 this morning, 35 kilometers deep. And a 4.4 near Nikolskoye, Russia at 3:37 this afternoon. While we're up here, let's move on up to Alaska, and we're looking at 2.5 magnitude and higher at the moment. So see if we can get all those on the map. We've got 10 here, 2.5 magnitude and higher. We've got 3.0 near Big Lake, that's the Anchorage area. 2.8 Koktovik, 3.1 near Kobuk. This was at 0 kilometers depth. 3.0 near Anchorage. 2.6 near Middleton Island. 3.3 near Shishmaref. 3.7 near Little Diomede Island, right here. 2.6 near Koktovik. 2.5 near King Salmon. This one was the 140 kilometers deep, right down here. Remember we saw those yesterday that were 250 kilometers deep? We haven't seen that today. This is the deepest one, this 141. And 2.9 near Big Lake. Let's look at this one that has the wave for tsunami warning. So you got to scroll down. 4.2. I don't know if that's the one or not. Go up here. No, it was a 3.7. That's what we're looking for. 3.7. And it doesn't look like it's on the map here. So there's that. Now let's go to all magnitudes for Alaska. And we've got 58 on the map here. So we can see the clusters. Let's see what's going on up here. Just a couple up there. So here they are in pairs here in the north. Here's a pair right here. Here's a pair right here. I just think it's so interesting to see these pairs. And now they're coming down through the middle of the state. And this cluster down here in the Anchorage area, that's not as many as we've seen some days. There's 40 in this viewing area right now. So there's Alaska. Now let's go on down to Hawaii while we're here. We're looking at all magnitudes, and we've got 8 on the map today. We've got a 1.3. This is at Kilauea, remember? Looks like a bunch of them are there. 1.3. That was at a minus 0.1 kilometers depth. 1.7. 1.3. 3.0, so that's a large one over here at Lalani Estates. A 1.9. This is a deeper one. This is at 44 kilometers deep. Pahala out here in the ocean. 1.9 at a minus 0.5 kilometer depth, and 1.7 over here near Mauna Loa at minus 0.4 kilometers depth. So let's take a peek at this Kilauea area. This is the crater. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 in the crater and 1 on the side. And some of them were at a minus kilometers depth. So the magma is building there. It appears to be, that appears to be what's happening. Now in the Dominican Republic, this has calmed down quite a bit. We've only got 4 here today. 2.8, 2.9, 2.8, and 2.7. Now this 2.9 was pretty deep. It was 116 kilometers deep. It was actually on the coast here, right next to Puerto Rico, near La Playa. Now let's go on into the lower 48. We're going to start out with this one near Knoxville, Tennessee. We've got a 2.2 near Coalfield, Tennessee. This one happened at 10:14 this morning. 3 kilometers deep. Next, we're going to look at Utah. Utah has gotten some activity. Here's a 2.4 at Fillmore, or near Fillmore. Remember we saw a big one here yesterday. This one came in yesterday at 6:55 p.m. at a minus 0.7 kilometers depth. So that's up in the mountain. Then 1.5 near Farron. Remember we saw that swarm over there. 1.5 near Farron at a minus 3.4 kilometers depth. This one came in last night at 11:27 p.m. Now here at Bluffdale, we've got a 1.0 near Bluffdale. Remember it was swarming here yesterday. And a 0.2 near Snyderville. I don't even see it on the map. Oh, it's right here. Maybe that's starting to calm down. Then coming on up here into Wyoming, we've got a cluster of 6 at Green River, 29 kilometers, 29 and 30 kilometers northwest of Green River. These are all at a negative depth. Here's a 1.6. This one came in at 11:51 this morning at a minus 1.5 kilometers depth. 3.0 at 11:53 this morning at a minus 3.3 kilometers depth. So these are all real close to each other. 2.6 at 11:59 this morning at minus 1.5 kilometers depth. 2.9 at 12 o'clock this afternoon at minus 3.1 kilometers depth. 2.8 at 12:08 this afternoon at minus 3.1 kilometers depth. And a 2.0 at 12:19 this afternoon at a minus 0.2 kilometers depth. So this started at 11:51 this morning, and it stopped at 12:19 this afternoon. So about 30 minutes. And there were 6 that came in that 30-minute period. So I think some magma is moving up there. Then up here in the Yellowstone area, wow, look at this. This is at Old Faithful. We've got 13 here today. So, you know, things are waking up. Things are just waking up. And the magma is waking up and moving. And I don't doubt this, considering that large earthquake from Ecuador, you know, it's causing the magma to move all over the planet. So we've got, how many did I say? 13 here at Old Faithful. Most of them are under 1. Here's a 1.0 and 1.3. That was the highest. Then the rest of them were under 1. And they're all in the ground. They're not up high. Obviously, it's a geyser. So they're 7, 8 kilometers deep, 9, you know, around that area. So when did this start? Yesterday at 5:07 p.m. Then the next one was at 12:48 this morning. Then 2:43, 3:52, 3:56, 4:38, 4:39, 4:48, 5:34, 9:22, 9:23, 10:42, and 11:18. So we haven't had any since 11:18 this morning. So there's that. Then moving on up, we have 3 here near Manhattan, Montana. Good sized. Here's a 3.8 that came in at 10:44 last night, 4 kilometers deep. Then a 2.8 at 6:09 this morning, and a 2.3 at 11:29 this morning. All in the same place there. And moving on over, we're not seeing anything in the Seattle area or Washington. Here is one southwest of Portland. It's a 3.0 near Rose Lodge, Oregon, at 11:04 this morning, 44 kilometers deep. So we're seeing an increase in magnitude now, as I expected. Then coming down into Northern California, here's a 2.5 near Petrolia, right near where all these red lines intersect. We talked about these. Now this is a sensitive area with the Cascadia subduction zone, and this is the San Andreas fault line here. This one happened last night at 11:41 p.m., 26 kilometers deep. Then 2.0 near Laytonville at 9:44 this morning, and 19 at the geysers today. They're under 2, 1.1, 1.1, 1.1, 1.6. That looks to be the highest one in magnitude, and the rest are 1.1 and under, except for this 1.3. Next, let's move over to Nevada. We've got some more going on up here near Tahoe Vista, a 1.2 at 7:01 p.m. last night. Then here's one northwest of Reno, minus 0.1 near Cold Springs at 12:18 this morning. Here's another one. We saw one here yesterday, a 0.2 near Fernley at 11:38 last night. There's a 1.0 near Urington at 5:38 this morning. They've been getting one almost every day. Here's some down in the Hawthorne area. That's an active region. So just some small ones. Southern Nevada is pretty quiet. Just got a few small ones down here. What have we got down here? Here's a 1.6 near Searchlight, Nevada at 12 p.m. this afternoon. I haven't seen one down there before. I mean, since I've been doing this. Here we have a 3.0 near Courant, Nevada at 7:50 last night, 0 kilometers depth, right at the surface. That's large for it to be right at the surface, so whatever caused that, I can't say. And a 2.0 near Courant at 7:11 p.m. last night. So that one came first at 7:11, and then the 3.0 came in at 7:50. So again, a pair about 45 minutes apart. Here's an explosion, a 1.8 magnitude explosion west of Ely at 1:22 this afternoon, 0 kilometers depth. Now let's come back over to California. Here's a 1.4 near Columbia at 8:13 this morning. Here's a small one near Mammoth Lakes at 0.4, and a 1.1 near Mammoth Lakes, and 0.3 near Mammoth Lakes. This one is closer to Mono Lake, but they called it Mammoth Lakes. That's eerily quiet. What do we have here? We've got 3 here at Little Lake of 1.2, 1.8, and 1.1. Let's catch the ones on the west side now. Here's a 1.5 quarry blast near Aromas, California at 11:36 this morning, minus 0.1 kilometers depth. 1.1 near Tres Pinos at 1:48 this morning. 0.9 near San Ardo. 1.9 near Kolami. And now Southern California, nothing in Mexico that I can see. Here's 3 in a row here near Brawley and Westmoreland. Here's the Brawley. 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.9. So it doesn't matter what these are from, whether it's from drilling or what. I mean, it's all showing movement. 1.9 near Salton City. And the more you have, the more it creates a weak spot in the plate for future earthquakes. We've got 17 here, including this Kauai area. So these are small. These are not big. These are small. 1.0 near Thousand Palms. So here's one. 1.2 near Lenox. Did we get this new one? 1.6 near Hayward. This one came in at 5:10 this afternoon. 4.5 kilometers deep. Let's see if anything larger has come in today. We got that 4.4. Got that 2.9 at Big Lake 2.7. I think that's a wrap. So I'll let you go for now. Hope everyone has a good weekend and is safe, and I'll keep all of you in my prayers. And I love you all very much. And I recommend everyone get your spiritual house in order and go to God and Jesus. That's the fastest way. It's absolutely the fastest way to be on the right spiritual path, in my opinion. So until next time, go in peace, God bless, and goodbye.